The Secret Police report on the Ashman. David was paranoid. He had a persistent fear of men in black coats following him. He would carry a small hand mirror in his pocket wherever he went, using it to peek around corners just to be sure he wouldn't encounter one of them. Most of them were taller than 7 feet in his estimation, though it was hard to be sure, as they were always quite a distance away. David remembered an incident when he was 13 years old, walking home very late one night. The path home was a rather long road through deserted farmland. David stopped when he noticed a man in a black coat standing on the other side of the street. The man produced a very old-looking camera and took several pictures of David, the flash blinding him. Blinking his dazzled eyes, the boy saw the man violently dry heaving until he coughed up several developed photos into his hand. The man had looked at the photos and back at the young David. Whatever he saw in the pictures must have been enough, because he then crumpled them up and ate them in front of the terrified kid. After that, the man's body flaked away into dust and vanished in a swirl of wind. David was able to get a look at the face before it disintegrated entirely and has never forgotten what he saw. The man didn't have human-looking skin. It looked like cracked and decaying leather, and the eyes were horrible, looking like bottomless black pits drilled into the face. But the boy knew that those eyes could see him perfectly. He also figured that whatever it was the thing had seen in the photograph, it had made it decide not to do something to David. This thought gave him many sleepless nights as he grew up. He never did lose that paranoia, always suspecting that today might be the day that the man in black came back for him. This paranoia followed David as he grew up. It is what caused him to enlist in the Marines and, when his service was complete, sign up for the CIA. David's paranoia has kept him alive over the years, dodging traps that would have killed others, making decisions that would save his life, even encountering anomalous creatures and surviving them with both body and mind intact. David was skilled enough and paranoid enough that he became a prime recruit for the agency. His skills were too valuable to go to waste. So David was recruited and let in on the truth. What really goes on in the world around him. David flashed back to that unforgotten childhood encounter, and this led him to accept the job offer and join the agency. Once a member and assigned as a junior agent, David finally discovered the answers he had been looking for his whole life. Having mentioned his encounter as a kid to his recruiter, the recruiter had looked him up once he had been accepted and signed all the secrecy paperwork. What David had encountered was the creatures version of the agency. Instead of mostly staffed by humans with the rare creature and monster, the secret police is mostly staffed by creatures and monsters with the rare human. Similar to the agency, the secret police's mandate is to keep the hidden world hidden. But, unlike the agency, the secret police will more easily resort to lethal methods of keeping things quiet. Their field agents, the Ashmen, when sensing a risk of exposure, will go in and observe. As they do, they start sifting through the strings of probability and eventually will produce a photograph from their bodies, revealing the answer to their question: will the event they witness cause the hidden world to be exposed? If the answer is a yes, the Ashmen will kill everyone in the vicinity without mercy or hesitation. This is why the agency is at odds with the secret police. While the agency has ruined lives in the process of covering up the aftermath of attacks, killing is used as a last resort, not when we can hire the person, bind them to secrecy, or just wipe their memories outright. The agency is well aware that the secret police has the ability to do the same. But the policy of their agents, the Ashmen, is to simply end life. David was fortunate that whatever the Ashmen saw, it wasn't enough to kill him out of hand. Another difference is that the Ashmen don't involve themselves the same way agency agents would. They merely observe. Just observe. If a human was being attacked by a creature, they wouldn't bother going to the trouble of saving them. No, they'll allow that person to be eaten or mutilated while they dispassionately gauge whether they need to become involved. And if that person was fortunate enough to escape, it may not matter, because the Ashman may get the signal that the victim might expose their secret, and then that victim will die. The Ashmen can turn any part of their bodies into ash that burns hot enough to burn through metal. As you might guess, flesh doesn't stand up well to that sort of heat. One of the methods of execution they use is to grab the victim's face and turn their hand into ash, suffocating them. When they stop breathing, or sometimes before, they heat up the ash. And they'll keep that burning grip on their target until, like them, there is nothing but ash left. Ash that is absorbed by their bodies, leaving no trace after they depart and eliminating all witnesses. Even agents need to be wary about Ashmen. Just because they know the truth of the world doesn't mean that the secret police may not try to eliminate them. Whatever intel they have on the agency, the secret police have time-tested methods for eliminating agents in the field. One of their favoured methods is to go to a public place, knowing that the agent won't do anything that will draw attention. This leaves the agent vulnerable. And like the humans they observe, the Ashmen aren't above using small arms to be subtle about killing people. It seems they don't have any issues with leaving behind a body that died of non-anomalous causes. But as they studied the agency studied them. Taking down an Ashman is hard, but not impossible. While not transformed into ash, their bodies are still similar to those of humans, which means they can be shot, cut, and killed in their base forms. The ability to change into ash requires conscious effort, so breaking their concentration is vital to shutting them down. Even changing into a being composed of ash does not render them invulnerable, because it's still just burning ash. Using water or a fire extinguisher will render them harmless. Dispersing the ash is also an option. Spread too thin, the Ashman will not be able to pull itself back together again. So using an industrial fan or even a leaf blower will do a good job of stalling them. But if the ash is collected back together again, then transforming back is possible. As things currently stand, the policy is to treat the secret police with the same aggression with which they treat the agency. As long as they maintain their shoot first policy, then the agency wants nothing to do with them.